Alright, welcome everybody to another edition of the Takoyaki Party. This is episode some number after 30. And, and we're gonna have a good time, I think. Okay, breaking news. I think we all learned about 2-3 hours ago that Sayaka announced her graduation from NMB 48.
Boo.
And we're all pretty... I don't know. I don't know what the word is for it, and I'm trying to, like, put my thoughts down.
Broken up.
But I don't... It's really hard. Anyway, I'm here today on the special broadcast with Ryan, who actually attended the concert where they had the announcement. So you want to tell us, like, how the general atmosphere was in the building? Like, I don't know. How was it, really?
Yeah, sure. So, to be honest, like, it was kind of a boring concert, I guess, because it's like a Tokyo concert and it was a small venue, so you can't really guarantee that, like, the hype people will come. So I was, like, telling everyone in chat, right, oh, this is kind of a boring set list. And then, like, so the first time I thought that there might be something wrong was during the encore when all the NMB members showed up. So this was a tour, right? This was a national tour, and then they only had 16 members per show.
Okay, so that's why, like, people... I was like, oh, I thought they were all going anyway. But when they... now that you bring it up, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right? Like, all of them were there.
Yeah, at first I thought, like, oh, what? Maybe it's, like, just the draft 3, because I recognize some draft 3 girls, like, because they all came... So the members were on stage, right? The tour Senbatsu were on stage, they were singing. And then suddenly, like, this, like, huge amount of girls just showed up from, like, behind everyone, from behind the audience. So they came from, like, the back entrance, and they all showed up, like, and walked straight to the stage and then started, like, dancing. So it's like, oh, wow, everyone's here. So, like, my first thought was, like, oh, they're going to make, like, some kind of announcement. Right? So I was thinking maybe, the Osaka leg of the national tour.
Okay.
Or maybe, like, 8th anniversary, or, I don't know, Gaining 4.
Yeah. You have to bring all the girls for Gaining 4, right?
So my friend was saying he thought that it was like a Senbatsu announcement.
Yeah. But
right?
But for all the tours we've had, like, I'm sure crazy stuff has happened before, but nothing of this, like I don't think all the girls have ever showed up on, like, a random leg of the tour, right?
Yeah, exactly. And, so this was the first time this happened. And
I just want to clarify, where was the concert exactly?
Okay, it was in Nakano-san Plaza in Tokyo. It was basically heart of Tokyo.
Okay, so at least it was like a semi-big venue, right? It's not like
2,000.
I mean, it's not like Ishikawa or something, right? Where we don't even know where it is.
Of course. At least it's Tokyo.
Yeah.
It's Tokyo, but it's supposedly it's like the idol Mecca. This venue, so like I guess like Morning Musume or something had got their start here or something like that.
Okay, but so you started to sense something was going on, and then
So now that I think about it, like in one of the MCs, like Sayaka was like really weirdly introspective. She was like, I feel so happy to be able to be here in this, like, place, Nakano-san Plaza, because this I used to, like, go here all the time to watch, like, idols, and that I am now able to, like, stand here after 8 years is, like, very how do you say this? It makes you think. Something. She said something like that.
Okay, and so, like, things got going, and then she announced the graduation. But, like, how was, like, the air, right? Were you just like...
Yeah, okay, so...
Were you just, like, punched... Because, so, like, I remember when Achan announced her graduation, right? And I think people had, like, I don't know, like, recordings from their phone or whatever in their pocket, and that was, like, devastating, right? You could hear, like, the screams. And I feel like I got that when I watched the video.
Yeah.
Like, it was just, oh my god, dude, like, ear-piercing screams that is just like, oh my god, dude, like, this is real.
So okay, actually, before it happened, it was like, so she was like, they sang like Dorian Shoyan or something, and then she
Right.
was like, okay, just give me one more song, and then they did 365,
Mm-hmm.
and then I thought it was done. So actually, like when that finished, I was like, oh, I was like looking at my bag and like thinking how I can make my escape,
Uh-huh.
and then she said, oh, okay, so we're done now. So, but do you guys want one more song? And then she's like, oh, but before that one more song, I have an announcement. And then the place fucking died.
Yeah.
And then she said like, watashi, you know the template, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Watashi
You mean
Yamamoto
like,
Sayaka.
yeah, the graduation lines that they say before to announce their graduation.
Yeah. So when she said like the first phrase, no. So when she said, I have an announcement, it was okay. What's the announcement? And she goes, watashi. When she did watashi, oh fuck.
Hmm.
And like you could like hear like everyone freeze. And like in my head I was like, oh my god, like okay. What other patterns are there with for like watashi Yamamoto Sayaka? Because she paused like a long time, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know, right? Like, you all knew it was coming when she said that, and like the only times people have ever like said something else like that is when they're joking, right? And
Yeah.
this is Sayaka. You know she's not gonna like mess around. You know she's gonna
Yeah.
get straight to the point.
So when she said that, like someone was actually like, uso, or like someone shouted, like, oh no, that's a lie, or are you joking?
Yeah,
And and that's why in part of her speech you can hear she said, no, I would not lie about this, right?
yeah.
And then she like, I don't know, like I think I just blacked out during her speech,
Hmm.
but like everyone was like, so like I was like sitting near some girls, and like you could hear the wailing.
Hmm.
So like one of my friends said that like she passed through like the girls area. So there's a girls area for
Right.
this concert,
Right.
and there were a bunch of girls who were like crying so much that like their friends were trying to like calm them down. They were sitting down, like they couldn't even stand up.
Hmm.
It was really really intense.
It was really dour, huh? So the mood is like,
Yeah. So like even during her speech, right? Like and then they did like a Sayaka call.
mm-hmm.
So that was like kind of standard, and I think Sayaka was like really okay until like the Sayaka call, and that's when she broke down.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know. I'm pretty sure like the live stream cut off, but there was a double encore.
I think I saw like a video of like her coming to say something, but I didn't watch it.
Uh,
I was translating the stupid announcement.
yeah. So what happened was like at the very end, right? Usually like when they finish the concert, right? Like someone just stays at the end and says something extra. Like usually like Momoka would do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this time it was Sayaka, and she like basically just reiterated, like oh, I've said all I wanted to say, blah blah blah. Like I'm really happy, blah 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 blah. And then when she left, like we did like a double encore for her. Like no one would like, well, a bunch of people were leaving, and then like but like the really motivated ones like stayed and like did another Sayaka call.
All right.
And then she came out and said like, well, I really know what to say anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I've already said what I wanted to say. But like I always want everyone to know that I love NMB and I'm really happy that I was with NMB. And she was saying something like there's like these new girls now. Like there's like even this one girl that's like double my age, like half my age.
Mm-hmm.
And like I don't know if she was getting confused or if she actually meant to say it. But she was saying like, oh, I see like there was like this bright future with NMB, and like I feel like there's no more place for me here. That's why I have to leave.
Well, I mean, like she kind of implied that in her speech anyway.
Yeah, she said like in her speech, right? I thought it was really weird because she was saying like, oh, like there were like situations when like can NMB survive without the Yamamoto Sayaka, and I feel like maybe I don't have a place here anymore.
I think it's more like, am I impeding the growth of everybody? And you can kind of see that because like in a lot of her appearances, like I kept complaining about when they performed Nagiichi, right? And even though she was
Yeah.
center in the actual singles, she stepped to the back. So I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
she's just as confused. Like, where does she belong? If she's so far ahead, but like that she feels like she's blocking everybody.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I when like I saw like one of my friends after, and like we just looked at each other and said like, NMB owatta na. It's
Uh,
like NMB is over. Like
yeah.
well, I guess that's very like hot takey. So I don't know. I will probably change my mind tomorrow. But like I really really have a hard time seeing like a bright future without Sayaka. And the thing is like it's really fucked up because like maybe for 2 or 3 years now everyone has been ready for Sayaka to leave. In the sense that we know she's gonna leave anytime, any moment, but like no one wants to believe it.
I think that like when I look at what she's been doing, like she doesn't really do NMB stuff anymore, and to me that kind of makes me sad, right? Because when I want her when she the way I wanted her to leave is to come out like to leave NMB on top, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like that at all.
Well, the problem is like she can only do so much, right? She can try to drag NMB, but like NMB itself has to go with her.
Like I don't want to get too much into it, but like at the end, like really, that's all I wanted, right? Like if you're gonna leave,
Yeah.
at least like leave when they're on the rise, or like trying to take back like what was theirs. But
Yeah.
now it's just like it just feels like it's a huge gap, and it's like I better leave, right? Like it's not looking good for anybody, and to me that's really sad.
I don't think she's doing like I don't think she's like running away or anything. Like I don't think anyone believes that she's running away. It's more like I mean she has to leave someday. And I think
Yeah.
that's what fueled her thinking.
And also there's the thing that like there's never any good timing, right? Like the only
Yeah.
timing is only good in retrospect. Like you can never
Yes.
plan a good time,
Yeah.
and so maybe it will be a good time. Like this is a good time for her to leave, but like I don't know, it just feels like it comes at a really bad time.
I think it comes at a really horrible time because I don't know because I really feel that like NMB is like hanging on to the last vestiges of its popularity just because she's there. I mean, you can talk all about like Akarin and all and the YouTube stuff, but like I don't know, it's still different. It's still Sayaka.
Yeah,
Like NMB gets to show up on like music shows because Sayaka is there.
yeah. Like, can you imagine if like we have a handshake event and nobody sells out? Like, God, dude, that would be the worst.
Well, Miru's still around unless she goes to Korea. Oh my fucking god, I hope not.
But does she sell out? Like, sell out?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, she sells out, like as in completely sell out. Yeah, she does,
Okay.
but she doesn't sell out as fast as Sayaka.
Yeah, but I'm just like, can you imagine like that happening, right? Like that would be like Abe KB not selling a million CDs anymore, right? Like as soon as you see that, you're just like, this is over, right? And yeah, it's really worrying.
Yeah. Well, if you think about like, I'm actually worried about the rising tide effect with Sayaka. It's because like I feel like there are members, like there are members who owe like part of their sales to like Sayaka fans who go to events but will buy other tickets too.
Mm.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because like I know a couple of people who go to Yuri, for example, right? But the only reason they go to Yuri is because they won Sayaka tickets that day.
Mm.
So, I won Sayaka tickets this day, but like I will have like so many like open slots, so I'll just buy like Yuri tickets to like
Yeah.
fill it up.
Yeah, I think, like, honestly, like, what I would really like, well, I want to say honestly, but, like, I have my own issues to deal with. But, like, you know, I'd want to see them stand on their own. Like, these girls stand on their own without Sayaka, right? And if they do it, that would be, like, incredible to see, right? Like, you're like, oh, no, they're done, right? Sayaka's gone, right? Now NMB's
Yeah.
gonna die. And if they were to survive that and, like, come out on top, that would make for a great story. But, like, can they do it? Like, oh my god, dude. It's so...
It will be very tough, I think.
Like,
Remember the Next Gen 6 Remember those glorious days?
So next Gen 6.
Remember, like every single team had two next gen aces.
Oh yeah.
So if she left during that time, I would have been more confident, to be honest, rather than now. Well, when half of all of them have left.
Yeah, the next 6, right?
Yeah, the next Gen 6.
Shu, Ririka, and who else?
Fuchan.
Fu, and
So,
Nagisa's
it was
probably on her way out too.
yeah, because Nagisa's like 21 or 22 now.
But then again, Sayaka's 25, so who knows, right?
Yeah. I'm actually most worried about Akarin now. Because she's now like our last hope.
I don't think anybody will leave if it means NMB dies. So I don't know. So okay, so to like kind of close this off because we're taking up a lot of time.
Yeah.
Like how do you feel about the actual graduation? Like, are you just sad because like NMB's dead, or like, you know, what's your general like emotion?
Okay, so the really hot takey answer is that I'm sad that NMB is dead. Right? Because as I said, like Sayaka is the only one basically holding everything up by her bare hands. But I'm also, I don't know, it's a weird thing to say. I'm kind of excited for the future because as you said, right? Like what if like NMB like rises up again after Sayaka leaves? Because this is gonna be like a lot of hardship for everyone.
Yeah, but at the same time, like I don't know. Like I keep looking at produce, right, and it's like that's a lot of hardship, right? You go to another country, you gotta learn their dance and everything, and you thought you were good, and you can't even speak Korean, and then like the people that like come out of it and do well, like I think they grow a lot, right? Like Sayaka, I think is exploding now. And I think that's really good for her because like she had to, like if she just stayed back at did quintet, right? Like I don't think she would like grow as much, and so I think like with Sayaka leaving, there's like a lot of potential, but like whether they can realize that's oh my god, that's so hard, and like I don't like being pessimistic, but like it really looks really hard.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe tomorrow we will have a different point of view, but like right now it doesn't look very. I don't know. This is worse than like the after Senkyo podcast we did because now it's like at least back then we had Sayaka.
Yeah. Well, like I wanted to know like how you feel. To be honest, like I was trying to like sort out my own emotions, right? And like when you said like, oh, I think NMB is dead, like for some reason that never crossed my mind. Like for me, it was more about thinking like she's been there for 8 years, right? And that also means I've been there for 8 years.
Yeah.
And like I just think about like all the history and how I used to be a Sayaka OC and like, like man, this like 8 years of my life, dude. And like I just like think back about like on it, and it's just like, well, I guess it's time for her to go. But like, what am I doing, right? What am I doing with my life?
I think there's going to be a lot of people who will make the same kind of reflection that you did, and it's going to depend on like where they fall, right? That's the one I'm most worried about actually, because I really think that like the ship will go down, but we never know. Maybe like the new NMB. Like this is like a really good time to like rip off the Band-Aid, right? Like just start the new chapter.
Maybe.
But I mean, like, they have no choice. They have no choice, but like it's a good time.
That is a really long chapter. Like God, from the start, right? Like like you could tell Milky was the ace. Yeah. Like or planned to be the ace, but like
they tried to make her the ace. Yeah.
But like Sayaka was like the heart and soul, which eventually became the ace, right? Like she was like talented and funny, and like oh my god, dude, she could do like everything.
No, I think the original NMB was supported by 3 members. It was Sayaka, Milky, and Nana. Right? you could say like Sayaka was the leader, Milky was the ace, and like Nana was the heart of NMB. She was the one. She was like the motherly type, but she left really early though.
It's been
So
so long that like I don't really know how to feel about that anymore.
no, basically what I'm trying to say is that like what three people used to have is like was taken over by Sayaka herself,
Mm.
and then she's been basically like lifting NMB for the last I don't know how many years, 2 years since Milky left, and but actually even before that. Like
Yeah.
I think like after Milky got her like Bunshun thing, that was the start of like her downfall, and that was when Sayaka basically just took over everything.
I think it started a little before that, like, because she relied on her fishing thing, and like people were
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of
When
getting
people
tired
got sick
it.
of that, yeah,
Like she had
yeah,
nothing to replace it with, and then the scandal hit, so it's just like
yeah.
bad
Double
timing,
kill.
right? Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. It's gonna be like something that I think is gonna be unrecognizable to a lot of people without Sayaka. But as you said though, like it doesn't seem like she's NMB even now,
Yeah,
because she's like gone for most of the time. Most of the time, actually.
right. And this is like the first time they've been doing concerts in a while, besides grad concerts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Been a year, 2 years, 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have anything else you want to say?
Um. Yeah. NMB will get through this. We will survive.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Like I said, I got my own problems to deal with. So
Well,
we, we
you'll
didn't
get through it too.
we didn't even touch on that in our podcast.
I
That
probably
that
shouldn't though.
that broke while we were doing the podcast.
Yeah, I know. Andy and I were talking about it while you guys were doing
Yeah,
it.
I can't believe it. Oh my god. Okay. Well, hopefully you enjoyed this hot take, this breaking news. And now we are going to return you to your regularly scheduled podcast.
Okay. Hi, Jeff.
Okay.
Or Matt.
Tonight I'm joined here by my boys Matt and Geoff.
Hey, how's it going?
All right, and if you don't remember, Geoff is from the East Coast of the United States.
The Far East.
That's racist. But yeah, I just got back from Japan I was there for like a week, and then I went to Taiwan for a week, but then I went back for 2 days just for another Handshake event. So I got a lot of NMB stuff to talk about.
Yeah, what a nerd.
Going to Japan.
Going to Japan, going to see idols. God, it's so nerdy. Oh my goodness.
Who would do that?
So I'm glad you guys are here today with us to talk about idols and listen to three dudes talk about them. All right, so let's do this. Let's start the show. First, we got some news. Let's go through some of the news really quick. And by really quick, we're just going to tell you the news. We're not going to sit here and talk about what we think about it, because, I don't know, it's not really that exciting. First thing for news, they announced the NMB 48 All Clips Blu-ray and DVD, which is a collection of all their music videos. It will come with a voting code, and you can vote for your favorite video, and they're going to announce them all at some event at the theater. It sounds pretty boring, if you ask me. Because when they say at the theater, that's like only 200 people, so that's kind of a step down from Request Hour, which is like, I don't know, like it was like at Kobe World Hall or something that had 8,000 people there, and I don't know what they're gonna do. I mean, just show the music video probably. I don't know. Okay,
But at least it's all NMB, so you have to worry about any of the other crap.
the other crap.
Yeah.
This is not going to include like their side videos on the AKB or their side songs on the AKB.
I
singles, right?
think those are eligible. I remember hearing that mentioned, that specifically, like, the Hetao Utsu, the most recent one, that one is included.
Exclusive news coming at you.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we have Apon announcing her graduation. Sayaka. Her last performance will be at the Hiroshima concert on August 30th. So that will be interesting. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think a lot of us have a very strong opinion on Apon, but Pon? I don't know, whatever. But yeah, so she'll be gone soon. If you
She got her own documentary.
also known as the NMB 48 documentary. She's from Hiroshima, so I assume that's why she wants her last performance to be there. So if you're interested, I think the only ones that didn't sell out were Hokkaido, Fukuoka, and Kumamoto.
Yeah, I don't think they started some of them also. Like, they only did like half of the tickets so far. Like, I don't think they did Ichikawa or Nagoya or.
Oh yeah, well they didn't do the team ones yet.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you like her, you can go to her grad. No, you can't because they're sold out. Anyway, so enjoy her time while she's still here. Next piece of news is that former NMB 48 idol Watanabe Miyuki announced her comeback into the entertainment industry.
Woo!
You can sign up for her fan club for 5,000 yen a month. Oh my gosh.
It's per year. 5,000 yen per year.
Okay. Who wrote a month on our outline? That's embarrassing. I was going to say it costs more than my internet. That's weird. She has 2 comeback concerts, September 19th, September 21, in Zeb, Tokyo, and Namba Hatch. I know Andy applied for the concert and failed, and people are saying that like a lot of people failed. But there's still chances, right, with Pia or some other ticket company?
Yeah, E+ through like the Family Mart ticket or whatever. So I also applied because I didn't want to sign up for the fan club. That's why I didn't do that because it's 5,000 yen a month.
A year.
So I did. That's too much money.
Yeah.
So I signed up. I'm just doing it as like a Hail Mary. I'm not like too bothered if I don't win, but I'd be cool if I win also.
All right. So earlier we were talking. I forget if it was Matt or Geoff that said that Milky said she has some new songs. So I don't know if that means she's been practicing or she wants to be a singer. That is interesting.
Well, she did. Remember she had the solo debut from Janken, right? So it's not her first go around. Yeah.
Is she allowed to use like the Akimoto songs? So Yasashe Kisu or Milk Waruki or Zipper?
I would hope so. For one, that's like her entire image so far, right? And I can't imagine if they can write enough songs for her just in the span of I don't know how long, to fill up a whole concert set list.
Yeah, well, I think if it's a concert, like it's okay to do those songs as covers, right? I don't know. I never understood the copyright thing with covers. So.
It's possible. Then again, she's like technically under Yoshimoto or something, so or like some subsidiary. So yeah. I'm sure behind the scenes there's lots of contracts going on.
Yeah, as usual in the Japanese world. So if you're interested in seeing Milky come back, go apply for her concerts and come to Japan even. And so the big piece of news, and one that we're going to get some, initial discussion about, is that they revealed 6th Gen today at the Handshake event. There are a lot of members. There's 14, which is kind of weird because we just had 15 members with Draft 3rd Generation.
Mm-hmm.
What are your guys' initial thoughts on 6th Gen? Geoff, let's start with you.
Yeah, definitely the number is the first thing that stuck out to me. As you said, we just had 3rd draft several months ago, and a few of them are starting to be promoted. Like you see a few of them do gravure, a few of them have made their theater debuts, but then now suddenly we're plopped with another group of 14 new members, and I'm just wondering how they're going to handle promoting all of them at the same time. And because we've kind of discussed this before amongst ourselves that NMB probably already planned to have a 5th gen and then a 6th gen. And it's been 2 years, which is a reasonable amount of time. But then it seems like AKS kind of foisted this 3rd draft onto NMB when they weren't expecting it.
Yeah, well, we say that, but I mean, like, how can you not expect it, right? You know that the draft is going to come every year.
It was also the fans' fault for keep voting for more and more members. Yeah. Even the NMB members are saying, "Hey, we just have 5th gen. We already have too many members. Stop voting, you dumbasses."
Well, it's funny. It's funny you say that because at the same time, like we've had a shortage of members for quite a while, right? Before D3, we were just like, like there's a reason why you see Kojin in every stage because there's not enough people to work.
Yeah.
And so she had the most appearances, I think, in all the stages.
Right.
What else is there? Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, it's probably too many members. And I saw this one pic, so someone photoshopped and added like the names and details over the girls. So now actually you see the names, you can match the faces. So we were kind of discussing before who's like the cutest or whatever. which these girls, they vary from age 12 to 20.
Yeah,
so,
actually, when I look at the document that we prepared, there's a lot of girls that are like 17, 16, 18. Like they're pretty old.
Yeah.
Like in the mid-tier range for idol ages.
Right.
Yeah, usually it's like they try to get them like 15 or 14 or something. So
yeah, you had to get them.
It sounds really awkward and perverted. But, no, I mean, like, even if you look at 5th gen, right? Like, who's like old in 5th gen, right? Rikati, Kojin, I think just turned like 18 or something.
Shiori's 19.
Well, she sucks. So. But yeah, like, and then here you have like this girl Ogawa Yuka who's like 20, and then
Yeah.
Who let grandma in?
Yeah, don't really expect much from them, to be honest. They have to get going fast, or they won't get going at all.
The thing is, I thought 5th gen was really strong when they came out. Like they had the documentary or whatever and stuff like that. And I think they're all like I think except for Shiori, like I think there's something to like about each 5th gen member. So
yeah, I would agree.
I'm really wondering if they like had the same like if they foisted those same expectations onto 6th gen, or if they just picked up a 6th gen, right? And it's like, okay, that's cool.
Right. Yeah, maybe it was something to do with the huge gap between 4th and 5th gen that they wanted to, I don't know, they wanted to pick really well, but 6th gen coming straight after D3, maybe they're like, okay, let's just throw whatever at the wall and see what sticks.
Maybe. But we'll see. Or maybe they're thinking of there's going to be an exodus soon.
That's possible. Yeah.
All right. Next topic with 6th gen is since we only have 2 photos to go by, who's your first impression? 6th gen Oshime.
Okay, so I think the Hokkaido girl is pretty cute. Shobu Marin.
Okay.
But I mean, obviously, this is just going off of 2 pictures, so.
Mm-hmm.
And just out of being an NMB fan, obviously, I'm interested in Maichi's sister, Odan Yui. We'll see how she turns out.
Man, Odan Yui's like half the age of Maichi.
Yeah.
That's an interesting gap to have. So you said you like what is it? Shobu Marin.
Yeah.
From Hokkaido. I think Hokkaido girls are always interesting. I don't say that as like
going off our one data point in NMB.
No, but like in real life, if we remember that for a minute, like when I meet like Hokkaido girls, they're always like kind of like they're kind of different, and I really like that. So we'll see if this girl's different or if she's boring. Matt, who's your first impression 6th gen Oshime?
You guys are gonna get mad at me for saying this.
Why would I get mad?
Because I think I'm liking Okamoto Reina.
Oh my god, get out of here. I'm so mad right now.
And that's only if you don't know the rest of her details.
All I have to do is look over at her age column.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, just looking at her, oh, she's cute, and then you see her age, and like, oh god, I'm a monster. So, Okamoto Reina, she's a 12-year-old from Osaka, but I'm not interested in 12-year-olds. It's just happening she looks cute for a 12-year-old.
Well, I feel like when we joke about how like young these girls are, like it's kind of hard to like get the sense of how young they are until like you actually see them like do stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like if you just look at a photo, you know, it's like, oh, this person's 12 or whatever. It's like, I don't know, maybe I can believe it, maybe not. But then like when you see them like act or like speak and stuff, then like it gets a little bit more obvious. So we're only going by this one photo.
Like she looks more like mature than like say like the 13-year-old Kitamura Mana, who looks like a child. So yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Kitamura Mana looks like one of my former students, and I find that really, 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 really awkward. So, yeah, let's not go there. I'm actually interested if she actually sounds like my former student too. But we'll see. Also, my former student was like an athletic type, and I don't know if this person looks really athletic. It's probably only this photo too. Anyway,
how about you, Joe?
Me, like looking at the photo, I like Kobayashi Yurina. I don't know, something about her face looks very Yahagi Moeka.
Yahagi.
Yahagi.
I keep saying that, I don't really like her. And like when I went to the Seoul Senkyo, like our seat was like right in front of her, so I like full vision of Yahagi Moeka like all the time. I didn't really care, but yeah, I think she looks pretty decent. But again, we're only going off of a photo, so we'll see. I also want to say that one girl, Yoko no Sumire, looks like what's her face? Miki. That's also weird.
Yeah. And apparently she used to be some kind of street idol. I don't know too much of the details, but I mean, just looking at that one group picture of her, you could tell she kind of has this different aura. She looks way more experienced than everyone else, and that turns out to be the case.
The only former like idol like I can think of that was in NMB was like Yamada Nana.
I think Yamada Nana was in some Hello Project.
Yeah, like HP Osaka or something.
Yeah,
short-lived HP Osaka.
Iso-chan was in some like weird local idol group, or maybe she just did like some photo shoots back in Ibaraki. I've seen those pictures before.
Yeah, Shion used to be like a former idol too, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. Well, Yoko Ono looks more prepared than others.
Yeah.
What do you guys? Any last thoughts? Like expectations for 6th Gen? Are you looking forward to them? Do you really not care because you found like your true Oshi and you're never gonna leave?
I think one thing is one of the members' names is Namba.
Yeah, yeah.
Namba Hinata from Nara.
Oh, okay, but it's written differently than the city of Namba.
Yeah.
Did you know that, Matt?
No, I didn't. Actually, I believe it.
Like if you look at the photo that we're looking at, so like the Namba girl that we're talking about, like Nan is Minami or like south, and normally Namba is written with the difficult kanji.
Like the Nasu Namba.
Huh?
The Nasu, like I'm Nasu Shiobara or whatever. I don't know if you know. That's what's Dochi. Never mind. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I was thinking of the word Mizukashi. That's alright. Okay. I guess that'll do it for 6th Gen. I don't think we have. I mean, like it was literally like 4 hours after they announced it, so we don't have much to go on.
Hot off the presses.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. Exclusive.
From the front lines. We weren't even at the event that they did it, so it's not the front lines.
It's like
the back lines.
It's not even the back lines. It's like the fax machine back home.
The coach's
box.
Wire. Up in the
wire.
Football
That's
stadium.
the official term.
The coach's box. Oh my god, dude! Like whenever they get the what is it, the cell phone that goes up to the coach's box. That's really funny. And then they yell at each other with their Microsoft Surfaces. Okay, that's it for news. Next thing we want to talk about some event reports. So as Geoff alluded to at the beginning, as he said in the beginning of this episode, he came from the East Coast, the far East Coast of the U.S., all the way to Japan. And one thing I wanted to ask him about, that I was really curious about, is he actually attended the show You Gotta NMB. If you're not familiar with the show, it's a live show, and they just do some comedy stuff, right? Comedy bits.
Right. It's just an hour-long comedy show. So this this takes place in the Yes Theater, which is just right across the street from the NMB Theater, and basically it's with two gaining from Yoshimoto, like a comedy duo, and then 6 members, and they basically just do various comedy sketches for an hour. This wasn't my first time seeing it. I saw it on my previous trip to Japan last year. But it's pretty easy to get tickets. You buy it online through Yoshimoto's website, and then you just show up the day of the show, and they let you in based on your entry number. And the theater is pretty small, like 200 to 300 people, so you get a really good view of the members. So that's one of the reasons I decided to go on both my last trip and this trip, because it's just another opportunity to see NMB members live, even though it's not like a theater show or a concert. Because, you've made the effort all the way to go to Japan, so I wanted to get like as much live in-person experience that I wanted. So the show is like kind of just like a typical comedy show. You can watch the show online too. It's also streamed online on the TV channel, Kawaiian TV. So it's not like particularly different than anything else you might see comedy-wise that they do, but it's probably the easiest thing you can access as a live show for NMB.
So actually I was talking with like Carrie about like Produce 48 and stuff, and then I think one of the things that like I mentioned was that like one of the things about theater shows in particular that like makes you want to buy Handshake tickets is that they'll like they'll wave at you like when they're performing or doing MCs and stuff, or you'll get like eye contact. Apparently that's a big thing.
Yeah. Best.
Whereas for me, like when the one time I was at the theater, I was like, I hope no one looks at me. Because then I'll have to look around, and I was like, were they really looking at me? And I get really scared. But like, was there anything like that at the You Gotta NMB? Like, is there any like audience reaction, or is it just they're just performing?
Yeah, so definitely. So like any concert or theater show, lots of fans bring the uchiwa, the paper fans that have the members' names on it, and the members will definitely point at them and wave at them in between the segments while they're changing the set. And in addition, I think particularly this show, a lot of audience members were like yelling out things during the comedy routines. Like sometimes they would ask a question to a member, and then like an audience member would jump in with some funny answer. So they're like this comedy environment kind of like lets you participate a little more than maybe a typical concert or theater show.
Well, I think the theater shows now have like a lot of participation elements, to be honest. Like I know like Team N will like do questions, like you write them questions and they like sit down and talk about in the first interval.
Right, that's true. Yeah, so it's kind of this is I guess kind of like a really extended MC segment, but with like other entertainers. Except Yorugata, which is only 6 members, which is pretty impressive that they can hold their own for an hour.
So the other thing I want to talk about is that the members, like they're not top members, right? Like the top member that actually shows up is Nagisa.
Yeah, Nagisa goes a lot because she's like the star comedian of NMB now. But yeah, that's right. So you wouldn't see like Miru or Sayaka in this.
No Akarin, no Sayati.
Yeah.
No quintet, except for Nagisa. One tet.
But yeah, but if you like those 100 yen chans, this is a great way to see them up close.
Have you seen any other like comedy, just not like idol related, just like comedy routines and stuff like in Japan?
No, I've never seen anything live. So I've only seen Yugata and Yorugata.
Okay. No, I'm just curious because like as you know and many of us know, like the NMB theater is right across from the NGK theater, and like the NGK theater is it NGK?
Yeah, NGK.
Okay, I feel like they're like a company that also makes spark plugs. But anyway, like that theater is right across.
RCA.
RC makes like TVs, right, and camcorders. Do people even use the word camcorders anymore? Did I just date myself? Anyway,
Yeah.
so this theater, the NGK theater, is right across from NMB's theater, and there's always like a big crowd in front of it. Usually they have like a mascot outside, like taking photos. I was always curious, like if anybody actually or if one of us actually went to like just a regular comedy show. And I think it'd be cool to compare it with how like NMB's comedy show to see how like they stack up and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, we're not that cool yet.
We're just here for the idols.
Yeah.
We're just trashy nerds. Love it. Okay, so that was a good, that's some good insight into attending a live event, especially one that's not like really, like none of the other, like there's no live AK bingo.
That's why we need to spread the word about Yugata.
Yeah.
Then NMB will be so popular you won't even know.
Well, the other thing is you said it was an hour-long show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we all know AK bingo fans don't have an attention span past 20 minutes.
Well, apparently neither do NMB fans because they cut down the time on Manabu-kun.
Well, maybe.
That's because you have to learn stuff.
Yeah.
It's like a class.
It is a class, and then some with NMB members in it, and like that's like that's like the secondary part of the show. The primary part is learning.
It's like being distracted by the cute girls in your class, so you don't actually learn anything.
I don't know, man. I'm learning a lot about sleep, or I would have if I didn't already know about it. But anyway, let's move on to our next event report. So I think from now, or since the last time we've done this podcast, there's been like 2 or 3 Handshake events, right? And,
yeah, at least ones that we've been to.
Yeah, and so like this is the segment where we share some of the stories, the funny stories from the Handshake events that we went to. I don't know what those stories are because we didn't write them down, so it'll be a surprise to me.
I wrote some of them down.
Well, maybe I have to scroll down.
Not in the document thing that we're using.
Okay.
I wrote them elsewhere on the internet,
Okay.
so you might have heard my stories before.
Well, if they've heard that, I want to hear something fresh, right? They're like, you better offer some.
Well, do you read my reports?
Sometimes, if I see them.
Well, if you didn't, then this would be fresh.
But I mean, like, you're going to offer some newer perspective that she can only get. Oh, some drill came out of my mouth. That was an interesting perspective.
That's so
exclusive.
Yeah.
If you're on the video, the premium member stream, you get to see that action.
Yeah, it's coming straight to you at 1080p, 60 FPS. Anyway, yeah, well, I'm just saying, I hope you offer some new perspective that's just more than reading your Handshake report, right?
Right.
Sure.
Right? Sure. I don't like that answer. But we're going to have to go with it anyway because we don't have anything else to fill this gap. So, since Matt said he wrote down some stuff, let's hear some of it.
Actually, I wrote down, but I'm not reading it because I wrote it before, so I'm going to remember it from memory. So yeah, I usually go and see Anchu because she's always fun to go see. And so the one time that Geoff went to go see her with me, we rinbond together, so we lined up together, and they were doing the attendance card thing, so you could win one of these like wooden door knocker thingies.
Mm-hmm.
Sign it or whatever.
He's showing it on the exclusive video stream.
Yep, you can see it.
It's so exclusive. We don't actually have one.
Yeah, I have one. Geoff got one too, thanks to my story.
Yes.
So I had like 3 tickets for her. I went in with 3 tickets, and so I won 2 out of the 3 tickets with the lottery at the Handshake event. And so I'm like, okay, you can choose either this doorstopper thing, you can choose like a little paper book thing, which was like Japanese Sotsugo Shouho or whatever that Anshu explained to me, or you can win one of these like time card things that Indra goes through like a fax machine or whatever. But I'm like, these wooden doorstopper things, these things are probably the coolest, so I'm gonna get 2 of these. And so I'm like, okay, can I get 2 of these? And it's like, yeah. I'm like, oh no, there's only 2 left. I'm like, huh, okay. Actually, I'll just take one because the guy be after me is my friend, so I'm gonna let him have one. He's just like, oh, so yasashi, oh, yasashi. How do you say that in English? I'm like, kind, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, I hooked my brother up.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you.
With some wooden action, some wood. Give him wood.
Yeah, man, I think that would have been funny if you just got straight to the joke, but you were like, gave him wood action. Give him wood. I was like, oh man.
I'm showing you my thought process. I'm showing my work like it's a math problem.
Yeah, but no one reads math problems.
Story problems. Oh no.
Alright.
Yeah. But then,
So
yeah.
my story was yeah.
I went in right after Matt and was like, oh, hello. Like, she's like excited in speaking English mode because she's just seen Matt. And then I was like, oh, Matt, my friend, so nice. And then she was like, yes, so nice. And I was like, but then I was like, oh, but I can speak Japanese. And then I switched to Japanese with her.
Damn.
Sorry.
Calling out the underhanded insult to Matt.
It's okay. I speak Japanese to her too.
Yeah,
it's kind of hard not to because she's so excited about speaking English.
And then, well, she's even telling me like English is too hard, and I'm like Japanese is too hard. She's like, no, it's not. So I was like arguing with her.
All right, is that the end of the story?
That story, yeah.
Well, I thought Geoff had a follow up to it.
Well, that's pretty much it. I won I won that, and I think maybe that's what I won from Anchu. So thanks to Matt, I was able to get the cool wooden block thing.
The last one.
Yes.
What if Matt took both of them? What would have you? Would you have like just gotten that, or would you have gotten something else?
I would have fake cried in front of Anchu. Like, Matt, not nice, not yasashi.
Well, I mean, like,
and Andy was like, "Oh, there's only 2 left," and like, "Oh, you want one? Oh, too bad." But I'm not a dick like Andy is.
Okay. No, what I was saying is like, were the other things not like worth it?
There's this like booklet thing.
It was definitely not as interesting because there's like a little slip of paper, that is really similar to what you get from the other events. So like the wood block he's talking about, I think is used as not a doorstop. It's like used.
It's like a knocker, like a door knocker.
It's like a attendance thing used in like Japanese schools or companies to like show who's in the office or classroom. So it's like a nicer physical object as opposed to like a piece of cardboard or paper that you typically get.
Have this time card thing, yeah. Actually, that was the interesting thing at that event because all the members were doing these things, or most of the members were doing these things, and so they had a whole like row so you look at these things, and so for every slot that had the doorstop thing, they had to flip
not a doorstop.
The door knocker. They had to flip it from like black to red to say, this member is in.
I can't believe you kept calling it a door knocker, and I was like, what the hell's a door? Why would they give you a doorstop or a door knocker with their name on? Like a doorstop with their name on it? That's so trashy.
Hey, but no, it's not really nice.
Like every time you close your door, you're running over the member's name. Like, I don't know, that seems messed up. And then Geoff breaks the big spoiler. Oh, it's really like an attendance thing. Like, oh my god, dude. I can't believe you call it a doorstop. Oh my god! I don't know what it's called. So. I don't know how you get from doorstop to door knocker either.
Because like it's wooden and like so that's why I think okay. And also you put it like you hang it over your door, so like I think like you knock it like clunk clunk, like you tie it to a little string and then like a door knocker.
Oh my god, this is so bad.
You can come to my house. I have door knockers all over the place.
Yeah, but they're not made of wood, are they?
Mine are.
No, they're not. No, I refuse to believe that. Okay. Do we have any other stories? Any amusing handshake stories? Geoff, do you have any?
I just want to give my like overall impression of like how my handshake was, because I like being someone who can only go around once a year. I went like super YOLO and applied to like
Yo, that's racist.
Tons of members. I said YOLO, but
oh, I thought. Yeah, I'm the racist one.
You're the racist.
But yeah, I applied to a ton of members for the first date I went to, July 8th, and it was a AKB single, so it was with like tons of the sign bonuses, the 2-shot bonuses, and I was really lucky and won a lot of them, which I think is like karmic justice for last time when I lost out on like 50 tickets because of my own stupid mistake. But yeah, it was really fun to, I think what I experienced through these, like I went to 3 Handshake events over the course of 2 weeks, and as kind of a DD, I was happy to see like meet many members for the first time, and then like get a 2-shot with them or like get a signature. But then, yeah, I started to see, the whole aspect of building up a rapport with certain members that you get if you go often enough. So if you check my Twitter, I've Oshihen slowly to Hayashi Momoka over the past year. And
oh shit!
Exclusive, but
not really exclusive. You just said if you check his Twitter, man.
Yeah,
this
you
is
probably didn't check it until you heard us.
Exclusive formal announcement. But yeah, she's not that popular, but being even like replying to her on Twitter over the past year or so, like I met her like when I last went 9 months ago, and she remembered me because I always reply on Twitter, so like that really enhanced my experience this time. And then I just felt in general that I had a very good rapport with her. I could chat with her about whatever I wanted. So yeah, I can definitely see what some of you guys who are more experienced in Handshake talk about. Like, it's one thing to support a member or like a member watching from afar, but once you actually meet them, it's like a different story. And I can kind of say that, I've been a Yuihan Oshi for a long time, and my handshakes with her were like okay. They were still not bad, but not amazing either. But I still like her as kind of like supporting her from afar because, she's like senbatsu. She's kind of like a faraway existence anyway. But
she's like your popular Oshi that you tell everyone, but your real Oshi is someone who's not popular.
Yeah. So I think
but she's not really that popular though.
Hey, number 2 in AKB Sosenkyo.
Oh.
Out of AKB, yeah.
Okay.
6 overall, but yeah,
that was
just like different ways of like interacting with and supporting members.
Well, it's weird because I feel like that's always been like what they've aimed for, right? Like I think that's what separates AKB from any other idol group. That you actually get to. Well, I don't say that because of Sakamichi, which is practically AKB anyway. But
you don't really get to meet them because they're so popular. So they're all like Sayaka. You only get 1 ticket for them at a time.
Yeah, that's why. Anyway. But like, I think that's the thing, right? Like, you meet them so much, you develop like a relationship, a flowering. Oh my God, that sounds so
dangerous territory.
Not dangerous so much as awkward. But yeah, so like, and then like when you do that, like that's how your handshake kind of changes, right? Because there's like a certain if you're a foreigner DD and you just go and you'd be like, oh, I'm from the US, and like that's really all you can say, right? Or like hello, but like you can't really go past that because that's all you have. Whereas if like you go like to multiple events, it's like, oh, I remember you. You can like continue a conversation, or you can actually have something that's more than like nice to meet you, right?
Right.
And so I think it's also really interesting that Geoff, even though he's coming all the way from the Far East to the actual Far East.
Well, if you keep going east, you're still going east.
Man, that's some philosophical stuff right there.
East? I thought you said Weast.
Well,
That's
it's funny
West
that
Patrick.
It's funny that we're talking about Matt being all philosophical, and yet he doesn't know. He keeps calling that thing a doorstop.
And hey, everyone has a doorstopper in their heart.
Anyway, so I think that's
that
really
gets signed by an idol.
I think it's really cool that Geoff went the extra mile, or 8,000
Yeah.
to get that kind of report. I mean, you could say like, oh, Mogo's not that popular, and no one talks to her on Twitter anyway, so of course, like, she would know. But still, like, even to get that, I think is pretty amazing. So,
do you go to her showrooms, Geoff? Do you watch her showrooms?
She only does showroom
or
like
Insta Live.
I would if they weren't at like 4:30 a.m. my time. But a couple days ago she did another like live show, this like weird super underground idol radio show called Shimokita FM, and it was a live stream, and I managed to wake up early for that. But I sent in some comments, and she read my comments and said, "Oh, he came to Handshake recently, so I got my Shishin there."
Shishin, yeah.
That's
why
the Watashi kanji.
The Watashi kanji, yeah, throwback. Yeah, that's why, like, I mean, I'm gonna go a little bit off topic, but, like, that's why 27 Sally got really popular, because they do showroom most days, almost every day, and they actually will read your comments on that, and that's how you get, like, the less popular they are, the smaller idol they are, the more interaction you'll get with them.
Didn't Emichi used to do Shimokita Zawa, or is that something else?
Maybe.
She did, yes, FM, the Unlimited with,
that's her regular radio show, yeah.
Well,
but Shimokita is like this show that features various idols from all over the place. Apparently Shion was also on 2 weeks ago, so it's not just NMB or 48 group. But there's like other idol groups too.
Wait, is it actually in Shimokita Zawa?
Yeah, there's like a radio studio there, and you can go watch it live too.
I'm sure a lot of people don't know what Shimokita Zawa is.
That's where Sayaka had her live.
No, here's how you reach them better. You say Shimokita Zawa is the neighborhood that Persona 5 took place in. Oh,
really?
Not really, but like it's like one stop away from the train, because
near Shibuya.
Persona 5 is supposed to be Yongenjaya, which doesn't actually exist.
There's a Sangenjaya,
yeah. That's what I was thinking it was going to be,
Yeah, and that's actually like really close to Shimokita Zawa, which is also known as like a hipster neighborhood.
Yeah, it looked pretty hipster when I was there.
Looked pretty hipster in Persona.
Yeah.
Kids shooting. Oh wait, that's Persona 3. Kids with their masks.
They still have guns.
Oh yeah, they use it to shoot people.
Yeah,
not themselves. All right. I personally do not have any Handshake highlights because I suck. So that'll end it for our event reports. Hopefully you enjoy that.
Real quick, can I talk about one more Anshu story that was funny that you witnessed?
Okay.
Just because it's like I'm bad at like Japanese. So we're talking about like her shirt or whatever had like flamingos on it, pink flamingos. And I wanted to be like, are there other colored flamingos? That's what I was thinking. But then she's talking about my shirt, which had like a Super Nintendo on it. And she's like, Super Nintendo. And then she said
she didn't know what Super Nintendo was. She was like asking you like, is it like is that like Famicom or like what is that?
Yeah.
And you have to explain it to her.
Yeah, and then she's like, PS4 more Shinka. But I thought she said Shika, so I did like little horns. Shika. She's like, no Shika, no Shika. And then later I'd ask Joe what Shinka was. And that's funny.
But okay, so after Matt's story, I think that'll do it for any Handshake report highlights. And so we're going to move on to the last subject, which is the meta topic. And our meta topic this month, is I want to talk about translations because I actually came back to Teppen subs, our once defunct subbing group, and I started doing some random stuff. Mostly because my Japanese listening is really quite bad. And so I was hoping that by doing some translation stuff, I'd start to pay more attention to the Japanese instead of just guessing the meaning based on some random words that I pick up. So I started, doing some Teppen stuff. We released one thing so far, which is Manabu-kun, the World Cup episode. There's some stuff in the pipeline, so I've done preliminary translations for episodes 2 and 3 of Kisaten Girl, which is the drama that Yuri and Naru and Rika were on. So you should look forward to that pretty soon. And I'm working on another Manabu-kun episode. And one thing I want to talk about is that while we're translating, it's actually quite difficult for a lot of reasons. And I have to say that like maybe one of the driving reasons that everybody like wants to feel like what they've done has an effect. And sometimes you translate, like you spend like hours trying to like fan sub this one thing, and then you release it, and then like nobody watches it. What do you guys think? Like, has that like kind of stuff? Like, have you translated, like worked really hard on a translation, and then like you get nothing, or you just get people complaining that it's not fast enough?
Yeah, well, so I occasionally like translate things from Manabukun and just like short clips and like screen caps on Twitter. But for a while before that, I used to translate Yui Han's blogs and Twitter in her thread on Stage 48. And for a long time, like no one would read them, or like there'd be like one response. So it's kind of frustrating, but at the same time, it was also like a little bit for myself to practice, more reading Japanese and translating. But I think it's always this kind of thing that you have to just keep going at it, and then eventually, people there are probably always people like consuming it silently because it's the internet. There's always lurkers, but eventually you might find someone who's like super excited about what you're translating, and you help them get into it. And in my specific case, in the Yui Han thread, there was this like super big, like new Yui Han fan who like came in the thread and was like super thankful for all the translations, and like even started trying to translate himself, even though his Japanese wasn't very good. That's another story. But yeah, so I think you just have to keep at it out of like the interest that you have in the fandom, and kind of see it as, I don't know, if you get anything on top of that, that's a nice bonus.
I think that's an interesting way of looking at it, because I don't know, I feel like when I do that kind of stuff and I get no response, like I just give up, right? And I don't feel like anything changes for the better or for the worse. And I think a lot of it has to do with what you're actually translating or subbing, right? God, I remember when I first joined the community, right? And then I was looking for something to translate, and I was like, I'll just take some blog that no one really cares about. So I started translating Sato Amina blogs.
Oh.
It's really funny too, because like the way she writes, like when in like hiragana and stuff, people use like smaller, like for sho there'd be like shi and then yo, like the smaller yo, and she would never use the smaller version. So like you kind of have to be
shi yo.
Especially if you're a foreigner, right? Like you have to know when she's like using when she's supposed to be using the small one, but she really doesn't. And I'd do that for a while, and no one really cared, right? And I don't think when I stopped doing it, I don't think anybody really cared either. And I do think that's the other thing, that when you translate stuff, like a lot of times you really do want to pick like a high profile project, or like because you feel like you have more impact on the community than you would like translating like a blog or whatever.
Yeah, I guess it depends on your motivation. Like at the time, I felt I was like, oh, I really, really wanted to promote Yui Han, and like if it reached like anyone, then I was like happy. Like if people started commenting more in her thread or something, and it did kind of pick up eventually, but it took a while. Yeah.
So how did you feel about like translating blogs in general? And I know that like, because I was talking, like Matt also mentioned in the chat room that he wanted to try like translating like Anshu's like Dragon Quest 3 videos, right? And I'm kind of thinking like, yeah, but it's so boring, right? Because there's so much like downtime and and like random bits and pieces that no one really cares about, and you still got to translate it and do all the work. So like, how do you feel about like doing all that extra work for
I know what you mean, because definitely the blogs are more meaningful, I think, because they like the members also go through the effort of sitting down and writing a whole blog. But sometimes when I would translate her Twitter, it would be like, oh, she's just tweeting about something like, oh, good morning, or like, I ate this. It's like, do I really need to translate this?
Really mundane stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a lot of effort, and then maybe this is a little bit different than what you were asking, but since we were talking about like different types of things to translate for blogs and like any kind of written Japanese content. I noticed that they always like use. This is really specific, but they use like line breaks and like paragraphs and like tons of like white space. So it's a little bit difficult to translate into English. And I often tend to translate really literally as well, because there are all these set phrases that especially idols always use. You know, like, oh, thank you for always supporting me, or like, yoroshiku onegaishimasu, or whatever. That I kind of didn't want to change it too much, so I stuck with a more literal translation. So there's always these little difficult points, like when you translate, especially, I think it's especially with written things like blogs. Maybe with like TV shows and speech, it's less so because it's more free flowing and maybe you can be more liberal with that translation. But that's just another thought I had on like the difficulties in translation.
I always thought it was funny when they write like Ganbarimasu and then like we always translate it as like I have to work hard or something.
Oh my god,
so
yes. Ganbarimasu is like so hard to translate.
And so like I'm like every time people talk about the girls work really hard, I'm like, no, it's because you just read these translations and they always say Ganbarimasu, so you think they're always working hard. Matt, how do you feel about like, I know you said you wanted to translate the Anchu stuff, but like...
Yeah, but I mean, I also do like my own stuff. Like I'll translate my like Handshake reports from English to Japanese, because I do have like a decent following of Japanese fans, and they're always like interesting. You know, they also want to just read Handshake reports. So that's kind of a weird, like, you know, most members, like I'm speaking to them in Japanese, and then I translate it to English, and then I have to like kind of recall that back to Japanese. Or like, you know, if I'm speaking like with English speaking member, you know, go to Lada or Imichi, it's English and then to Japanese, which is much harder. Just to like kind of translate the feeling, so I have to kind of make it more simplified or whatever. But I like doing it, but yeah, it's just extra work, you know. So that's probably why sometimes I'm lazy and I'll just do the English reports, because that's like, at least I know that people like reading that.
Were you still thinking of doing the Anchu like?
Yeah, I think I might start like with Mario, because at least it's 4 episodes right now, and also it's at least easier to follow, because at least I actually know how that is in English, so I can totally just, you know.
Okay.
It's the same thing where like I'll play like a video game I've already played in English, but in Japanese, like, you know, like Pokemon Red Blue or Earthbound or something, you know, just to have like Japanese practice, reading practice, just so I can learn vocabulary.
So are you actually gonna do the whole clip, or are you just gonna like cut?
I'll try doing it like just the built-in YouTube stuff.
Oh man, that's
intonations. I tried looking at it and I'm like, yeah, this looks like I was thinking, oh, can I do this really quick? When I was like, you need to do like a whole day. Which, good thing I'm on summer break, so I guess I could probably do that. Probably my goal for summer break is to try to do her Mario series.
I think I told you, right? Like, if you do the YouTube thing, then like you just actually submit the subtitles and they have to get approved by somebody. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you want to
whether it'll be Anchu or not. And I could tell her, hey, I translated your Mario video in English.
Why don't you approve my subtitles, man?
Yeah, why don't you approve my subtitles?
Slip in a little message to her in the subs.
Yeah.
Or just translate it incorrectly.
Yeah, too, yeah.
Are you planning to translate just her commentary?
Yeah, I think that's all there is. I mean, that's... What do you translate? Do you translate commentary, or do you translate...
Like all the...
What do you mean by...
The important points.
Like the speech...
Like, I'm not going to translate like the menus and stuff.
Yeah.
Like her talking, like streaming, whatever. Sure, that's fine.
I think it would be a good idea to like just translate the highlights, but then that requires like you have to find the highlights too. That's something I was considering like adding in, or like trying to attempt, because right now I'm just like doing different things and experimenting and seeing like what has a good effect. And I feel like sometimes when I'm bored, right, I'll just go on YouTube and then I'll find like highlight videos of some girl doing like highlight videos of Shu, right? Because I think like Andy linked like some video of Shu. Oh, the one where they crashed the Handshake event.
From
like last week.
Yeah, and because of that, I got all these recommendations for like Shu footage and stuff. So I just like click through and keep watching it. And I thought it was really cool that like it's like a distilled form, right? Like you don't have, if you were translating, right, and like I was complaining about earlier, there's like all the filler and like random crappy like side talk that you don't care about. so this and that, like, oh, who cares, right? But like, I feel like if we were to do something like highlight videos, like if took somebody's highlight video and subbed it, I think we would have a pretty stronger, like a much stronger effect than we would just like doing like an actual TV show. Like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, because I have experience doing like video editing and stuff, so yeah, I can totally do that. I think it's just a matter of getting like the raw files or whatever, which I guess that's kind of easy depending if you have the technology.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, if it's on YouTube, then there's so many YouTube downloaders.
I guess how do you guys get like the raw files for like Manabu-kun or whatever?
Craig
has hookups.
Yeah.
Does he have like a DVR running like 24/7?
I just ask Craig.
Oh.
I just ask my guy on the street, Craig. Hey man,
you got that raw?
Hook me up with that Manabu-kun. Yo, I already put it in the box for you. Oh.
Hey, this one's free, all right, but next time.
No, man, I'll get you back.
I'm good. I'm good for it.
But yeah, I think what you're saying, like doing short clips that you can put on Twitter and like get really easily retweeted and bite-sized things.
Go viral.
Yeah, I think especially in this day and age with like Bingo and Produce, that's that's something that has a better chance of being the gateway for people to get more interested. Then maybe they can once we've got them in the sinkhole, we pull them in with the full episodes of Manabu-kun.
Or hopefully they'll be smart enough to understand it on their own. That was a big joke. I'm sorry. Oh man, too much. I should be on You Got NMB.
Hey.
Yeah, because even the screen captures of like Manabu-kun or even back in the day, Tanieda English. I mean, that's how like I discovered those shows. Because I see like Craig's random like screen capture of some funny thing.
Yeah. So speaking of that, right? Like, I think one thing that most of us do is like we'll take like small clips and then like translate them on Twitter, right? So one thing I thought that was interesting is that like I found my NMB hard drive or a hard drive full of NMB stuff when I like moved back to Japan, and then I like put it in, and then I found like these really old stages, right? I found like a stage for like 5 years ago, right? And then like Sayaka said something about like how she had a handshake and like she spit out gum when she was like, laughing or something. So I thought that was funny, right? And I threw it up on Twitter. Like, this happened 5 years ago, right? And like I got like all these retweets and like likes and stuff, like more than usual. And, I mean, you could say that's because it's Sayaka, right? But at the same time, I'm also thinking like, man, this is really old. Like what's going on?
It's old, but it's gold.
So it doesn't have to be necessarily something actually new, but like actually, promotes the member well. So.
Well, I think that's the other thing is that like it's so old and like people don't know any better. Like I hate saying that, but like it's like even if it was old, right? And even if you look at like the screenshots, you can see like pictures of like graduated members or like people not on the team, right? So there's like Uka standing next to like Yuri on Team N, like with Sayaka. It's like none of those people are together anymore. And, like, I don't think people care, right? I think they're so starved for translations that you can probably throw up anything.
Yeah. I mean, like, how many times have you heard about, like, some fan discovered AK Bingo and watched, like, the first 100 episodes, only to find out that Ah-chan graduated, like, 6 years ago?
That's, like, what's happening with the Produce members now. Like, the Produce fans, they're, like, starting to watch AKB stuff, and it's all this really old content.
I find it funny that YouTube recommends me like it's like Produce 48, like girl like Miyazaki Miho or something, and on AK Bingo, and it's just like
it's like troll photos, troll videos.
It's not troll. It's just like you're advertising it under the guise of these are the girls from Produce 48. And
well, like they put the tag Produce 48, but it's actually an AK Bingo clip.
But it's like more like the girls from Produce 48 in AK Bingo. It's like what they're trying to imply or whatever. But yeah, it's the same thing. Like. It does feel kind of weird that like people are so starved for information that like you could throw up any like I'm complaining about doing Kisaten Girl, right? Because I don't think it's that fun or good. But at the same time, if I threw it up, like even though it's like 2-3 years old, it has like Ririka in it, like and Yuri looks like super young. Like people would still like would watch it and like
Ryan will be happy.
I haven't watched it yet, so it's a good excuse for me to watch.
He's the one that suggested it, Ryan. I thought it was because it was a decent show, but instead it's just to further his own
agenda,
selfish ambitions. Oh my gosh! But yeah, so I wanted to kind of ask, like, So when you translate, or when you're looking for stuff to translate, is anything fair game, or do you just try to like do recent stuff?
I think it's like anything that interests you is probably the big point. Like you have to you have to find the subject funny or interesting to want to like share it with the rest of the world who may not understand it or may not understand why it's funny or interesting.
Like, is there an example that you have?
So like like Anju fighting metal slimes, which is just her screaming. Like if I did a highlight reel of that, actually I probably don't have to translate anything because it's just her screaming. So actually, you just want to make a highlight reel of that. Just to show, hey, this crazy girl from NMB, she plays Dragon Quest. That's how I got into Anchu.
But the thing is that that's still fairly recent, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, it didn't happen yesterday. But
well, I mean,
it's
if
still
it did like Dragon Quest
year.
1 from the Nihon-chan.
Yeah. That's still like, I mean, it's not like it happened like 3 years ago or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say that even like, so I often like watch stuff. I fall behind on all this stuff because of both the time difference and like me having a huge backlog of stuff anyway. And even I will say, like, even if it's like a 1 week episode or 1 week old episode of Manabu-kun, I feel weird about doing the screen caps because like maybe Craig has already done some or like some other people have already done some, so I'm like already behind. So
you can have like your different translations, your different versions. So you have like the King James version of Manabu-kun.
Go
NLT, you know,
get those bring back those subgroup dramas back in the anime fan subbing days.
Oh my god, those were the worst. I mean, there's still some that I remember. There was like this huge one over like the subbing of like HKT or something. Like I don't know if you remember that one.
Oh really? Oh, well.
Maybe our guest knows.
Yeah, well, he's in the bathroom right now. So.
Oh crap!
Literally. It's funny because Geoff talked about it earlier, but he's like, yeah, like this guy was translating Yu Hyun's blogs, and his Japanese isn't even that good. And that's another thing that like kind of gets me about doing this, because there's sometimes I can't pick up on something. I don't know why, but like I'll listen to it over and over again. I don't understand it, and I can't just leave it blank, right? This is like a like a multiple Scantron quiz in school. You can't just leave it blank. You might as well write something down, right? So I'll like scribble something out, which like I'll just use context to kind of figure it out, even though like I can't, like for some reason I just don't get the syllables that are being said. And
yeah, it
so
happens to me too sometimes.
Yeah, so I'll just write something down, and then like I'll never hear anybody complain like, oh yeah, this translation's kind of off. Like I've never heard like that many people complain about the translation. And usually it's the people that do complain about translations are usually the people that need translations.
Well, like it's also like part of it is that if you're again just like the passive consumer, and you don't if you complain about this one little thing where like 99% of it is correct, you kind of feel bad, right? So I think there's a big barrier to like complaining. So you have to keep that aspect in mind.
Well, I don't think we've ever gotten complaints about translation. And you say there's a big barrier, but I think it's just people are too lazy, right? It's like,
Well, since I'm the QC guy now, I'll make sure I complain more if that's what you want.
No. Well, because so like my experience with like translating things is that there's only there's 2 times where you get comments. One is if you're slower than usual, which means you have a benchmark, right? There's a usual. Second is when you stop doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the only 2 times I ever hear like. Usually, those are the only 2 times I actually ever get feedback. To be honest, when you stop or when you're slow.
But then, in a way, that means that if you're looking at it positively, there are people who like are consuming your translations or whatever and are like holding it up to some standard, and they're enjoying it enough that they complain when it's not up to that standard.
Yeah, but the standard is usually just speed or availability.
Rather
not
than
like
accuracy or like quality of the content.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, quality of the content usually depends on like what you're subbing, which again, we kind of tried to talk about that when I was like, should you sub like what do you sub or whatever. But like yeah, like you usually don't get feedback. Like you just spit something out. For me, like what I consider feedback is if people like use your subtitled stuff or something, right? Like like when people like post clips of like old Gainin episodes that like I worked on, I was like, oh yeah, dude, I remember that. Like that's to me that's like the cool feedback. But like whenever people like talk to you directly, it's usually like a complaint.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of sucks, right? Like why will you do this, or why isn't this out yet, or are you guys alive still? Like, I had like one bad experience where somebody requested something and then I had to do it, and it was really boring and it took a long time and not many people. It wasn't really that interesting, and if you like the person it was covering, like I don't even think it did a good job like highlighting them, and I think because of that I kind of stopped subbing.
Well, I think as you know, bringing it back to what you said, there's just so little sub content, especially for NMB, that I don't know, whatever we do will have some impact. And like for the little clips of Manabu-kun that I translate, like seeing the retweets and likes, that's like satisfaction enough for me. And like hoping that it gets, you know, I like hashtag the members, like hopefully like some people click on those and learn more about those members, learn more about NMB, more about Manabu-kun. So that I think that's the most I can do, and I'm satisfied with it.
Okay, Matt, do you have any other comments?
Let's see. I guess the one thing I've seen recently about Teppen is someone is like, "Hey, is there a subgroup for NMB?" I think I posted it earlier. It's like, I mean, the one subgroup I know that does NMB variety shows, they're probably dead.
I mean, we pretty much were or are.
Yeah, so like I responded to him. I told him, actually, if you're talking about Teppen subs, they started being active again. Most recently, doing the NMB Manabu-kun episode. So I don't know. I'm the hype man, the PR for Teppen subs.
To be honest, I was never really like one of the main translators anyway. It's usually like Smilodon that would do like most of Gainin and stuff. So he was like the main translator. And
yeah,
he's not really. I don't know what he's up to. Whatever.
What's your thoughts on like? So you guys host it all like locally on like Tumblr or whatever, or do you try to do it on YouTube? There's a big problem with the whole copyright stuff, like it getting taken down or shut down or whatever.
Like me personally, like I don't like all I wanted to do is distribute the subs, like the actual text file subtitles with timing, right? Like a text file. That's all I would want to do like legally. But we all know that fans are lazy and stupid, so like. That's right. I'm talking to you, the person that's listening to this.
He was talking to me.
I'm talking about you, Matt, you stupid, lazy,
fat
hey,
shut
person. I didn't even call you. I didn't even mention that the fans are fat. It was only you. It's like if you have to do like all the legwork for them, right? Like you have to. Like I used to do soft subs, and people would complain like, "Oh, I don't understand how to put subs on the thing." Like. It's like, dude, it's VLC. Use VLC and like right click and put English subtitles on the MKV. Like it's so easy. And people would still like complain. Oh, just wait for somebody to release the hard subs. We are that somebody. Like, come on, man.
Well, release it already.
So I think like what Craig does is that. So we release the soft subs, like the text file, and then like we just put it on Google Drive and update the Tumblr. I think that's like the
bare minimum.
The best we can do, I suppose, to not bump into copyright issues. But
that's what I was thinking. If I was doing like Anshu translation stuff, like I probably would want to put it like on YouTube or something. But then I probably get I don't want to like steal traffic from Anshu.
Yeah.
But then also I want people to discover her and stuff.
Yeah. Jeff, what do you think about
how to just copyright
distribution?
Yeah, I mean, like I want to support them, you know, the legal way as much as possible. But being a foreign fan, it's tough, right? Like, for example, I went through the hoops of like, you know, paying for a VPN to like then pay for YNN. So I have to pay double for it. So like before that, I would always, you know, have to torrent everything. But I mean, the entry for most people into some like Japanese fandom is initially through some illegal fan sub thing. That's how it is. Like for anime,
Got these Dragon Ball Z tapes.
They fell off the back of a truck.
The fan translated sub truck or whatever.
Yeah. So I mean,
back in the VHS days, if you wanted a fan sub, you had to like mail videos to the guy, and he would put them on with his dubber, and then he'd mail them back to you. That's the old school way.
Yeah. So I think it's like unfortunate, but you kind of have to cater to the lowest common denominator if you want it to spread, if that's your goal. And then you just have to hope that enough fans, at least some of the fans get hardcore to the point where or like speak Japanese, where they actually start like watching the shows legally, or like join our community or something like that, or like help actually join the subgroup.
This is like a recruiting seminar or something for like an MMR or MMA or whatever.
What?
Amway. What's MMR?
MMR.
MLM.
MMR is like your ranking in like League of Legends or something. MMA is the mixed martial arts, and then you go from that to Amway. Like, I don't know what's wrong with you. I think you gotta hit yourself over the head with your door stopper.
Yep.
That's the other hard thing, is that like, if we're trying to attract foreign fans, we have to do things kind of illegally. And I don't know. To me, it kind of doesn't sit right that this is what we have to stoop to. But then at the same time, like, it's the group's fault for not really making stuff available to watch in the first place, right? Like, how are you supposed to obtain a legal copy of Manabu-kun so that you can watch it with subtitles?
Did they sell it on DVD? Manabu-kun?
Maybe like a year later.
They only sell
seasons.
They only sell the Nani Yara Shite Kuruton and the Loke part. Legally, you can watch the stream for 1 week after the episode airs on the Kansai TV website, but again, you need a VPN for that.
Or live in Japan. Just move to Japan. It's like the solution to everything.
In idols, basically.
And also, if you do get that VPN to like subscribe to YNN or watch DMM or something, to cancel, you also need your VPN. So remember that.
Yeah.
Like, if you cancel your VPN first before your YNN, you can't cancel your YNN.
Shit.
All right. Do you guys have any final thoughts on the whole translation experience? Anything we missed? We good? Geoff, we good?
Yep.
Matt, we good?
We good.
All right, we good. We so good that we end in the episode right here. I hope you enjoyed listening to our show. If you have any comments, just hit us up on any of the channels. We always say this. We don't get any comments. It's pretty sad, but we're still listening. We're still waiting for one. And if your comment is, why isn't my sub titled Young Alpha doing here yet? I'm gonna be really mad at you. But hopefully you enjoy the episode. Final words. You got anything you want to say, Geoff?
I guess I almost feel like this going to 3 Handshake events. Over the past 2 weeks, I almost feel like I'm on the cusp of like getting something more. Like if I moved to Japan, I would get so much more. But like moving to, I don't know.
Gotta get that hit, bro.
Just for idols, it's dangerous.
You also got to be careful, because that's also what it's like. I'm almost there, and then you go again, and it's like, oh, I'm almost there. Like,
yeah.
What if you're never there?
Carrot on a stick.
Yeah. So I have to like keep the perspective, keep my expectations in line with reality.
So that sounds like sound advice. Matt, do you have any final words? Any parting words?
Go watch Anshu's videos.
Where?
On YouTube. It's not region blocked.
What was her YouTube channel?
Yeah, her Kari Shizuka YouTube channel.
There you go. Hopefully you could spell that. And as far as my final thoughts, I have none. I'm always pretty lame, just like how I have no Handshake report highlights, because I'm lame. Okay, so that's it. That ends this episode of Takoyaki Party. Hopefully you enjoyed it. This is Joe signing off for Matt and Geoff. See you later. Bye-bye.